Des remerciements de la part du public, bien sûr. Ce serait une très belle image qu'on va garder ici au Grand Bornand également. Ce trophée effectivement qui arrive quelques 10-11 ans plus tard, mais qui appartient bien à l'équipe de France, qui a justement gagné ce trophée l'an dernier également. On semblait être la première fois, c'était la deuxième. On peut les applaudir très très fort. Et on va vous monter dans l'ambiance, bien sûr. On va plus rien lâcher grâce à eux. On est déjà dans l'ambiance avec les drapeaux français qui sont partout dans la tribune, qui sont partout sur les sites spectateurs. Et puis, bon, alors on est rentré, on est dans la journaliste. Et c'est l'ambiance, c'est parti pour le show. On y va, show,
Welcome back to Le Grand Bornand and the penultimate day of action in trimester 1 of the Biathlon World Cup. 25-26 has got off to a flyer and we have two bumper days to roll into the Christmas break with. It's the women's pursuit which is first up today. Here's a look at the course here in the Haute-Savoie region. 5 2-kilometre ski loops, 4 shooting stages and a 150-metre penalty loop for each miss. Former USA biathlete and coach Chad Samuel. Le Grand Bornand has delivered so far. The women's sprint was of the highest quality, but looking at the air temperature, no change from yesterday, still a high of 7 degrees.
Absolutely balmy conditions. I was going to say we'll probably see the short sleeves from Julia Simone, who has been notorious for having those short sleeves. You see Deidre Irwin totally vibing out there, getting ready.
It's a vibe. France is a vibe. I had 2 croissants today.
the margin for error in this competition yesterday, or 2 days ago in the sprint, was so small, and it's just as small today, because it's very tight field. The first 5 starters, just 16 seconds apart, 3 seconds between Hannah Uberg out first and Lou Jean-Monod. For Jean-Monod and Hannah Uberg, it's basically a mass start between those two.
Well, let's look at the podium and from the sprint and just where they'll line up in terms of the time difference. Dorothea Viera, 11 seconds back. She said she was surprised. She wasn't as bad on the skis because she was feeling really bad coming into the sprint, but the pressure may be off in that regard. Lou Jean-Monod, her first podium at Le Grand Bonnard, and it does seem like the pressure is off her. She's well out of the crowd that we've just seen. In the start gate already, soaking up the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But Chad, Hannah Uberg, obviously the big story of the week so far on the women's side of things, the first victory in over 1,000 years. 1,000 years? 1,000 days. It probably felt like 1,000 years for Hannah Uberg with, of course, the troubles and the challenges that she experienced last season. Just how important will today be for her? She's never won a pursuit. What's the expectation on her shoulders?
Well, nobody knows more or feels it more that she's never won a pursuit than Hannah Uberg herself, going out first in an event she's never won, and she is on a bit of a renaissance for sure. She's back. I think the biggest thing for Hannah Uberg to take from this weekend, regardless of what happens today, is that her ski fitness is back to where it could be at her best, and she shot well yesterday. She shot clean. She's got to take those two things and just roll forward, because she hasn't done either of those things terribly well the last 3 years. She saw the ski fitness early this season, but she has not matched it with the shooting. She just has to try to keep it rolling and not think about it too much. If she does that, I think she will have a very successful end of the weekend here, and a very successful year.
Well, when you look at the statistics in terms of pursuit wins, this really looks like Lou Jean-Monod's to lose. Her first podium, of course, at Le Grand Bonnard in the sprint. She's just 1 point behind Anna Magnusson in yellow, but it didn't go to plan in Hochfilzen. Chad, what does she need to do to correct that in today's pursuit?
You know, that's the question in biathlon. I think that there's a couple things working in her favor. One is that she's a 6-time winner in this pursuit event, so she knows how to do it, and she's done it more than anybody else in the field but her teammate, Julia Simon, who probably starts a little too far back to really be taken seriously with the fitness we've seen from her. Simon will start 49 seconds back, so 46 seconds behind her teammate Jean-Monod. But the long and short of it is Jean-Monod just has to get into her own lane, not really think about it too much, and certainly kind of drown out the excitement that this crowd will bring her in this race. She's got to downplay that in her own mind.
She's been out experiencing the noise, and it was really interesting after zeroing to see Lou Jean-Monod make the choice to come out and stand on the start line a lot longer before the others emerged. We have to mention, of course, Chad, the pursuit winner in Hochfilzen, Lisa Vitozzi. She loves racing it in these conditions and is, truly back to her best, you feel.
And she's good at this event, too. She's got 4 victories in the pursuit, as does Elvira Uberg. But Elvira Uberg is starting way down in 30th spot, and she'll trail by a minute 13. It doesn't really give her the best chance at the podium, but Hannah Uberg facing the biggest pursuit of her life so far.
And only has a 3-second advantage over Lou Jean-Monod. Well, the countdown is on, the clock is ticking. And it's Hannah Uberg, the Swede, who pushes away, followed in quick succession by Lou Jean-Monod, who will be on the chase here. But with just 3 seconds separating the top two, it will be those two who are out with a slight advantage over Dorothea Viera. Lisa Vitozzi follows her out. And Batovska Fialkova, who loves racing here. Chad, you can't rule her out after that mass start bronze medal this time last year.
Podium last year in this event, near podium this year in the sprint, 5th place. Batovska Fialkova has had a long career up and down, and this is the venue that seems to be the one that works for her. She get her first ever victory here today in the pursuit. Chikita, she is skiing absolutely phenomenally this season.
I look further back and see Julia Simon, of course, such a great record in this event, but she has plenty of work to do wearing bib number 14, as we see the top 20 stream out to the start gate. Franziska Preuss, the world champion, in the pursuit. But both of her pursuit wins, Chad, have come when wearing bib number 2.
Yeah, she's quite a ways back compared to that. It's a different thing when you're in bib number 2 and you're as far back as she is today. So, but you know, you never can count too many. Both pursuits this year, we've seen big movers up into the podium and in the top 10 from quite a ways back. So I always watch for those people from late in the start of her. I've got Anna Magnuson in the yellow and red bib, where she's back in bib 38 with Ingrid Landmark-Tanneville and Janina Hedvig-Waltz. Those three could actually work together. You see them leave here. They could work together from 37, 38, and 39 to erase much of that. They're only a minute 20 back. That's not that much. If you think about it, that's like, you know, if it's 3 shots aggregate of a couple people miss in front of you and you stay clean, all of a sudden you're with them. And there's a fall from the start in bib 31.
Yep. Shrivatova, that's not how you want to start your race. Look quickly back to her feet as we go back to the front of the course as they come through 0.7 of a kilometre, and it's of course Hannah Öberg with the advantage as she came out of the start gate, who still holds it. Lou Jean-Monod not closing, if anything the gap opening by 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, this is a message being sent to Jean-Monod from Hannah Öberg that I know you're back there, and I'm not going to give you those 3 seconds. I'm not going to see those to you just because. So she starts the race in earnest, and that was kind of one thing I wanted to see at the 0.7 kilometer mark. Is what was Hannah Öberg going to do? Was she going to go fast, and was Jean-Monod going to try to close down those 3 seconds right away? She's not doing it. So I think that the message is clear. It's a race from the gun.
Well, you can tell, Chad, we've spoken about the crowd this week at Le Grand Bonnard, but it just ramps up at the weekend, and on this hill in particular, everyone out at the crack of dawn to try and get the best positioning around the course, and it really shows. The gap holding at 1 kilometre, Lou Jean-Monod 4.6 seconds behind. Let's see where this trailing pack, led by Dorothea Vera, come through. Bartoszka Fialkova working her way past Lisa Bertozzi, and it is Dorothea Vera who's now 20.3 seconds behind the time of Hannah Öberg.
Either Bertozzi's trying to take it easy this first lap, or she's just not feeling it. She's dropped the most amount of time of anybody in the top 10. Suvi Minkkinen comes through. See what her time is. She is 32 seconds back. She started the day in 27 seconds back, so she's losing a little bit of time too. But Bertozzi really taking it slow at this first lap.
Well, when we see Suvi Minkkinen there, she came into this race weekend suffering with food poisoning. It was unsure or uncertain at the start of the week just how much training she'd be able to get in. And a similar situation with Dorothea Vera, who also came in with illness. But Chad, to see both of them, of course, Vera on the podium and Suvi Minkkinen in the flower ceremony, it seems like they came into this with low expectations and not having the pressure served them well.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a bug or a cold or anything like that, first of all, you got to shut it down, which they did. You don't want it to turn into something bigger and worse than it actually is. So you got to slow down and stop. Then the big question is when do you come back and how will your performance be? Suvi Minkkinen's performance level really didn't drop much, if at all, in that rest period to get healthy again. So that's always a good sign, because these athletes are traveling, they're picking up germs in the airport or on planes or in vans. And you see them masked up nowadays. That's become a norm in the sports world. And, when you're an endurance sport athlete, you can't afford, in season, you can't afford to have a cold or any upper respiratory issue. And you certainly can't let it fester. So we've done a good job of managing that.
So into the range they come, side by side. The gap's now closed between Hannah Öberg and Lou Jean-Monod, who just stays tucked in on the shoulder of the Swede.
This venue doesn't hold as many people at the stadium as a lot of the big biathlon venues, but that first kilometer of the trail is just massive. And that's actually might come to Lou Jean-Monod's favor, that they can't pack that many people into her shooting, so it's not quite as loud while she hits.
So bibs 1 and 2, side by side. A miss for Hannah Öberg to kick things off.
Tight and nervous times leading this pursuit event.
It is perfect from Lou Jean-Monod, 5 for 5 in the first of 4 shooting stages, and she will go into the lead.
That was an icy performance by Lou Jean-Monod.
And let's take a look behind. Bartoszka Fialkova and Bertozzi missing. 2 misses for Bertozzi. Brisa Boucher has a miss. Dorothea Vera breaks the position and will come out not too far behind Hannah Öberg here. Suvi Minkkinen going well. 4 for 4. Can she make it 5? She does indeed. Lotten now into the range. 2 out of 2 to kick things off for her as Julia Simon drops down.
So now you have to look at the ski performance so far. Jean Monod clean, Hanna Uberg won. She's still in it, the leader. She only lost a total of 4 seconds overall. Has Hanna Uberg over the course of the, or 24 seconds. Not a huge loss of time in the dynamic at the lead. But Veer, you don't want to let her in a pursuit competition because she'll weave her way into your mind by how quickly she shoots when you go head-to-head late in the race.
So Preuss has gone 5 for 5 and she's climbing and clean. Anna Magnusson, the split red and yellow bib drops down and she has a miss to kick things off.
Vitozzi with the fastest shooting time so far, 21.8 seconds, which is relatively quick. And shooting one has Moser from Canada in 19th, the top North American. It's good for her, good stuff for the Canadian.
Andrew Holt clean 5 for 5 in the first of the 2 prone shootings.
So Vitozzi, the big loser from the first lap. She gave up time on the course and then had 2 penalties. She trails now by a minute after starting in 5th spot, just 15 seconds back. So 45 seconds lost to the lead for Vitozzi.
Well, it was such an impressive climb for Lisa Vitozzi last weekend in Hochfilzen. She'll need to pull it out of the bag in a similar manner here. She sits in 11th, coming out of shooting 4, or shooting 1 even. Yeah, I think
shooting looked pretty.
Wearing bib 4.
Yeah, the shooting of Hanna Uberg looked pretty solid after that miss. I don't think they're going to take any correction. We'll watch her as she comes to the range. She might take correction, but I didn't see anything that warranted anything on the sights for Hanna Uberg at this point. So I think that it's probably operator error. First and last shots are the most likely to be missed in the course of a 5-shot stage, and she missed the first as the leader of a pursuit. You can probably chalk that up to nerves. Now into this cauldron of noise at the 3-kilometer time check. And the French are going to love this, and it's going to get loud.
Well, it is quite a sight as they come up the climb.
And Uberg looks very much in control of her skiing. And watch the dynamic between her and Minkinen. Again, Minkinen started the day 27 seconds back of the lead. That was Hanna Uberg at this time check. Minkinen coming through just about in the same spot. Little past it, a little slower.
Back into the top 5 of the total score now. Suvi Minkinen after the sprint and her 6th place finish. She climbed well in Hochfilzen from 13th up to 6th in the pursuit. She'll be looking to find herself on the podium once again. It was Dorothea Vera who actually went the other way in the pursuit in Hochfilzen, 4th down to 9th. But of course, starting in 3rd today, another taste of a podium and what has been an excellent start to the season for the veteran Italian.
One of the nice things I've been following a little bit more this year is the Live Cup while we're in action. I don't want to get too much into it, but right now, if you break down the World Cup overall score in the total, you'll see Anna Magnusson came in with the lead. She's just dropped down to 3rd virtually right now. As Minkinen has moved back up into the lead in the Virtual Cup, the overall standing. So it's, but that will play around. We'll be playing with that with the score as it changes over the course of the race. Magnusson just 1 point ahead of Lou Jean Monod and starting, as we said earlier, 38th. It's not likely that she's going to hang on to that yellow bib. She's dropped to 3rd at the moment in virtual standings, but not by much, just 10 points.
There was only 3 athletes who wore the yellow bib for all of last season. We've already had 3 this season. And of course, Lou Jean Monod will have her sights on doing enough today to take it back. But of course, plenty in the picture as Uberg continues to push as she comes towards the range. But first into it for shooting 2 is Lou Jean Monod.
A little bit of parity on that first lap time. Bryce Labouche moving a little bit faster than Lompich. They're further back in the field. But Jean Monod skiing well in 6th spot of the 6th fastest first lap time. So she's going well on the skis.
10 out of 10 in the prone for Lou Jean Monod. No mistakes made. And she's away before Hannah Öberg can take her first shot. But the Swede is quick on the trigger. She's 3 for 3. Perfect so far. And makes up for the mistake in the first visit with a perfect 5 in the second.
That's exactly what Hannah Öberg needed to do. Jean Monod is strong as anything on the shooting range. She's 93% this season. Prone is Jean Monod, but she's 86 in standing. Hannah Öberg 81. Just 5% difference between the two of them. They're pretty even. Just waiting for Jean Monod to have that first mistake. If Hannah Öberg can keep it together. Minkinen goes clean though.
Yep, and so does Dorothea Vera, of course, in front of her. She's 24.7 seconds behind Lou Jean Monod. Shea breaks the position with just 1 miss.
About 23 seconds for a penalty loop. Vera right in there. If you cough one up and Vera comes railing them like a machine gun and she hits them all, she can easily take the lead from 24 seconds back yet.
Royce 5 for 5. She's 10 out of 10 in her 2 prone visits. Nadia Moser 5 for 5 as well. Her pitch vaults goes clean on the second visit. Keep her eyes on Ingrid Lermark-Tandervold now. Elvira Öberg moving well. She's 3 out of 3 now. That's 4. Tandervold still going well.
No massive moves up the field yet. As you said, Tandervold clean. See where she'll come in. But Nadia Moser, with clean shooting from Canada, is having a great day. She started 28th and is 18th right now. And Michelin has moved up to 21st as she comes across. She's moved up from 32nd to 21st, so that's a good move for the hometown team. And Elvira Öberg from 30th to 22nd. So those two moving well through the field.
You always expect a good climb from Elvira Öberg. And here's her sister, who remains in second for now.
Great reaction from the crowd there. Just looking at the ski times of that last lap. Fastest skier again, Lampic, Bursak, 4.6 seconds slower than that. But Jean Monod holding down the 3rd fastest time of that second lap. And looking for the time of the Swede. Anna Magnusson actually moving the best of the Swedes in 5th fastest time. And Hannah Öberg down in 25th, 14 seconds lost on that ski lap. So Jean Monod putting the pressure on the Swede. So there's Anna Magnusson here. Magnusson sitting in 25th after the second shooting stage. She's moved up 13 places since her start. She's in that red and yellow bib, but just kind of watching where she might end up at the end of the day. Still sitting 3rd in the virtual cup standings, or virtual live overall World Cup standings, and just 2 points back of Minkinen. So she's doing a good job of trying to manage the gap of the people charging ahead of her in this race to hang on to that red and yellow bib.
Well, someone who's charging is Bartoszka Fialkova. She's up into 4th as she glides past Suvi Minkinen on the climb. And it is at the front of the field, Lou Jean Monod, who continues to pull away, the gap opening to those chasing, and Hannah Öberg obviously the closest in second. And well, Chad, this just feels like it's the position where Lou Jean Monod is the most comfortable, as we see coming through in 10th. Julia Simon hasn't been able to do as much damage to 14th position as she would have liked. She has Lisa Vitozzi in tow, who's fallen from 4th down to 11th. But when we look at Lou Jean Monod, Chad, how many times have we seen her race when she has that gap at the front, she has the advantage and can just relax and get into her stride, into her shooting. This is where we see her become pretty much unbeatable.
Yeah, this is Jean Monod's game plan and her basic pattern of success, is being very disciplined in the first 2 shooting stages, the first 3 ski loops, and then getting a gap that kind of just buys her the ability to be by herself and not worry about anybody else. The difference is she's probably still thinking about never winning here. It's gonna figure in the back of her mind. So she's got to try to erase that, or just kind of stamp that down in the back of her mind, not let that come up to her to the surface while she's shooting, and just get back to where she is when she's doing training by herself, and pretend that all these people cheering for her aren't even there.
And of course, I think that was part of coming out early as she did and making sure that she was comfortable with the crowd.
Yeah, that was a great picture we saw her as she went about 5 minutes early to her start position. First standing shooting now. Nice solid shot. Prone ring hit. Prone ring again. Solid shot. All of them, nothing even close to a miss there.
And a perfect day so far for Lou Jean-Monod with just one shooting stage to go. Hannah Erberg has a miss, and that opens the door for Dorothea Vera. 2 misses now. It's Vera's to take the silver medal here.
Safe to say that Hannah Erberg will not recover from that shooting stage. What will Vera throw at us? And she starts with a miss too, though.
Excellent recovery, though. Just one miss for Dorothea Vera, who'll be once round the loop after Hannah Erberg, and the chase and the battle will be on for the silver, because here comes Suvi Minkkonen as well. 5 for 5, quick and clean.
Bartoska Fialkova with a miss as well. That's going to dash her chance, I think, at a podium. As Minkkonen comes now through in second, 39.5 seconds back, and Lou Jean-Monod is free and clear. 2 more ski loops, 1 more shooting stage to light this hometown crowd up.
Well, she's never won here at Annecy Le Grand Bonnard, and she came ever so close in the sprint. It was Hannah Erberg who spoiled the party, to put it into her own words.
Here's Preuss now, or Simone into 5th. Bartoska Fialkova in 6th. Vitozzi hanging on the 7th. And Preuss goes clean for Germany. She started back in 18th. She'll leave shooting number 3 in 8th. Moving up. Magnuson has a miss. That was a big miss for her in defense of that yellow bib, and that's probably going to ensure that the yellow bib leaves her shoulders today. And poor Nadia Moser, who's doing so well. 3 misses on that shooting stage for Canadian. Dieter Irwin fights back with another clean round after shooting 3. But Suvi Minkkonen, the big winner of this shooting stage, because it puts her solidly in 2nd spot, almost a penalty loop ahead of Dorothea Vera in 3rd. Well, Jean-Monod, she won't have to wrestle with the fact that she's not won in Le Grand Bonnard. If she can just bring home even a 4 for 5 will guarantee it. Even 3 for 5 in the last standing stage will likely keep her in contention for the victory. Minkkonen's about 2 penalty loops back. A little less than 2 penalty loops.
There's a look at the top 9 after shooting 3. Well, we said before, this is lose to lose, Chad, and it really felt like it today. She could be on the verge of a, personal best victory. I think it would have to be that. She'd put it up there with the best of her wins, and it really would cement her position this season as well. We know how challenging it is for the French athletes to come here to Le Grand Bonnard. They love racing here, but the French crowd expect big, and it is a weight that's lumped on the shoulders. And Lou Jean-Monod bearing the brunt of that weight so well. 46.8 seconds her advantage now over Suvi Minkkonen.
Yeah, a win here is very different than a win anywhere else in the world right now for Lou Jean-Monod, because of the weight of the crowd and the fact that's kind of the one thing she hasn't really knocked down in her young career, relatively young career. I mean, she's not a beginner, but she's not a veteran yet either. She's kind of in the sweet spot of her career as Suvi Minkkonen gets instructions from her coach, sitting in 2nd spot. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for Jean-Monod to move towards greatness just a little bit more, because I just don't think that there's anything more special in French biathlon than to win in a pursuit in Le Grand Bonnard. Vera holding on 4th, trying to chase down Uba. 5 seconds back now. She left the shooting range. 3 seconds ahead. So Vera actually putting some time on Hannah Uberg there for trying to hang on to third spot and move to the podium.
Bressard Boucher, someone who knows about winning here at Le Grand Bonnard. She's down in 8th, has a good record here, but it will be a new French name atop the podium today, and that will be Lou Jean-Monod. Let's keep our eyes on Franziska Preuss, who, well, Chad, hasn't been able to climb maybe as much as she would have liked, just owing to those around her, I think, but a clean day so far, 15 out of 15.
Yeah, I think all the illness she's had, we're not seeing the Preuss we saw last year. Preuss last year was immaculate. She had great fitness all year. She had one sickness around a little bit at the new year, and bounced back and won that Crystal Globe for the overall. But she doesn't have the ski speed right now. But the one person who does, if you look at Janina Hettig-Waltz, she's right ahead in 9th place right now, just behind Preuss. She's come up from 37th place to 9th. That's the biggest march on the day on the field. Tannervold next best at 39th to 16, and Rebecca Costa from 25 to 13 now as Jean-Monod takes aim at perhaps the greatest thing she's not yet done in her career, is win at home.
Well, this is it for Lou Jean-Monod.
That first shot so critical to go down. Oh, and there's the miss.
A miss, but it's still the victory for Lou Jean-Monod by a significant margin.
She'll enter the penalty loop with nobody even on the shooting range yet, and she'll exit it before anybody else has taken a shot. Jean-Monod showing how you work the dynamics of a pursuit in your favor today. A masterclass. Sure enough, she leaves the shooting range before Minkinen has even taken a shot.
And she will be just the second French woman to win here at Le Grand Bonnard, behind Justine Bressard-Boucher.
Behind her, a scramble for the podium.
Well, this is Suvi Minkinen at her best. Exceptional from Minkinen, who has really announced herself this season as one to watch and one who can challenge in the 4-stage races.
Great performance by Minkinen, 20 for 20. She'll be rewarded.
And Dorothea Vera, who goes 5 for 5 in her final shooting stage, but the battle will be on now in the skis as she comes through the gate, pursued by Julia Simon nonetheless.
And Vitozzi and Batoska Fialkova also within striking distance of the podium. I think looking at Vitozzi's skiing performance today, it's dropped quite a bit from yesterday. I think she is a little bit on the weak side, but as you see Batoska Fialkova already trying to move past Vitozzi, leaving the shooting range. But Minkinen solid in second, but Vera not solid in third now. A race for the final podium spot. And look at Julia Simon, had broken a pole on that last lap, got one very quickly from the coaching staff. Looked like she got it from an Italian coach, actually. That's a great thing about the sport. Everybody helps everybody.
All eyes on Lou Jean-Monod, who even with a miss on that final visit to the range has more than enough. This has been her race, and it has been trademark Lou Jean-Monod. She did it her way, and she etches her name into the French history here at Le Grand Bonnard.
Her 7th pursuit victory of her career. This is a hard one. This is a hard one to nail down, and you wondered when she was going to do it. The sprint yesterday kind of suggested today might be the day. Hannah Uberg looked really solid, but again, Hannah Uberg has never won a pursuit. That's going to remain the case. And Jean-Monod moving up 6 spots right now in the Live Cup standings on the total standing. She is currently sitting second coming into the day by 1 point behind Magnuson. The Live Cup is not updating on the total right now, based on where we are out on the field, or in the field of play.
But digging deep and fighting is Julia Simon. And she forced her way onto the podium.
Dorothea Vera looking like she's taking a little bit out of Minkinen here. Let's see, she was 15 seconds back, and she's erased half the gap to the 0.7 kilometer mark of a 2 kilometer loop. So if Vera can continue the rate that she's closing in on Minkinen, she should catch her by the finish line.
And through comes bib number 1, Hannah Erberg, 54.6 seconds back, 4 misses across the 4 stages. Well, she needed to be perfect today to contend with Lou Jean-Monod, who had shaken the shackles of Le Grand Bonnard free.
Well, looking at Julia Simon, if she was in her normal form, I would say she's got a really good chance, being 5 seconds back of Vera, of getting on the podium. But she's not the Julia Simon we're used to seeing. She's clearly not in the fitness at this point in the year that we're used to seeing her, and she is struggling a little bit. Losing time to Vera now. Petoska Fialkova is absolutely tenacious in 5th spot. But 7 seconds back of Vera for the podium. It's a big ask of any of them. About a kilometer left in the race. Minkinen hanging on, doing just enough. What's the gap now to Vera? There she sees the gap.
Well, she can take a look to one side there, glanced up, saw the gap that she had and knows that she has to keep going here. There's no margin for error when Dorothea Vera is chasing.
And it's Simone, another 7 seconds back. But Lou Jean-Monod, absolutely beautiful performance today.
Well, was it ever in doubt? The 7th pursuit victory of her career, and by far the sweetest. Lou Jean-Monod is the darling of Le Grand Bonnard. An emphatic victory. She did it her way. She stuck to her guns. And well, to do it in this manner on home snow for the very first time. Could this be Lou Jean-Monod's year? Suvi Minkinen really pushing through gritted teeth as Dorothea Vera is on the charge. The sprint is on. They're round the corner and into the stadium. And Julia Simon has not given up yet, but the gap is just too big. Suvi Minkinen takes 2nd in the pursuit, and she had to work for it. It's the podium once again, and back-to-back bronze medals for Dorothea Vera. And Julia Simon, she climbed well, but she just couldn't force her way onto the podium. A great day in the office once again for Petoska Fialkova as Lisa Vitozzi across the line to round out the flower ceremony, with Hannah Oberg dropping from 1st down to 7th, and she'll have to wait for her first pursuit win of her career.
Lou Jean-Monod, just spectacular. It was really interesting watching Julia Simon. She knew she wasn't going to get to the podium spot. Nearly gave up with 10 meters to go and realized Petoska Fialkova was right there and gave it 2 more hard pushes with the legs and got across the line just half a second ahead of Petoska Fialkova for 4th. And the big mover, there's Preuss moving into 11th. That's a nice performance from her, but you can see that she just doesn't have that fitness she had last year. And here's Anna Magnuson with a valiant effort to try to hang on to the bib from starting way back in 38th to 16th spot for Magnuson. But I hate to say it, I think she's going to have to cough up that bib. But a nice, valiant performance by the woman in red and yellow today. Starting way back in 38th position, which is not a fun place to start when you're the world leader.
A great climb as well from the winner in Östersund, Lisa Hauser, up from 20th into the top 10. Just 1 miss on the day for her. Brissa Boucher couldn't help herself in the rain. 4 misses saw her drop down to 9th.
So we talked about the yellow bib moving up and down the order, and it'll go back on the shoulders of somebody who's already had it this year. Suvi Minkinen wrestles it back over Lisa Vitozzi. Lisa Vitozzi and Anna Magnuson tied right now at 165 points. And Magnuson will drop 2 spots to 3rd. I believe the tiebreaker going to Vitozzi. Because Vitozzi has a win this year, Magnuson does not. So tiebreaker being best race overall between the tied people in the cup standings will go to the higher spot in this winning group will go to the person with the best finish. 60 competitors still to come in. This is 35th, 2 minutes each. Start 21st, so drop a few spots.
Well, what a day for Lou Jean-Monod. What a weekend, you have to say, when you, of course, look at the performance of Justine Bressard-Boucher in the mass start in 2017, the sprint in 2024. This is a complete performance from a French woman to take a first podium at this venue just 2 days ago, and to be back to stand atop the podium. This is why the French fans come out in their number. And that's a woman who has harnessed the power and the pressure, the responsibility that comes with wearing the tricolour.
Jean-Monod asked her how she finished. She's at 10th, I think, and I think that was probably a pretty solid performance. He's trying to pull up the pursuit time and see who won that today. The pursuit time, of course, being the best on course on the day, and that right now with an incomplete field. That honor goes to Lisa Teresa Hauser, who started in bid 20. And Hauser moves up to 8th from 20th spot with one miss on the day. And here's Marky Freed from the United States. Across the line in 51st, right where she started. On the Yupa, and in 52nd, 56th. Julia Simone, the second best pursuit time of Uber, as I said, moved up from 38th to 10th. Third fastest pursuit time. And Jean-Monod, her time on the course was the fourth best of the day, but good enough for the win based on her start.
Well, you have to say on so many levels, Chad, Lou Jean-Monod sowed the seeds of the victory with the sprint on the opening day here at Le Grand Bonnard, and really reaped the rewards today, whether that be the position that she found herself in with bib number 2, but also the psychological work that she's clearly put in as well. And, well, you wouldn't want to bet against her going forward now.
Yeah, she's not leading the World Cup yet, but I think that we can expect that. The biggest thing on these people, on all these athletes' agenda, of course, is the Olympic Games, so that might figure into the story that we tell about the overall World Cup in the end. But because some athletes might choose to sit out some events just based on where they fit compared to their goals at the Olympics, so it's always a factor on an Olympic season, is that you start getting closer. You know, those Oberhof Loop holding World Cups, we might see some people adjusting their training plans to the Olympic Games, and we see Sweden do that very often. They'll often come into Oberhof maybe a little tired and not perform quite as well, and then they kind of bounce back a month later after the championship event. So at least that's the intent. It's all strategy.
Well, it's just a second podium for Suvi Minkinen as we see the shots here of Lou Jean-Monod in a four-stage race, Chad. How much of a corner turned is that for her? Of course, all her results in the breakthrough season last season coming in the sprint in terms of the ones where she found herself on the podium. 2 podiums in 2 pursuits now. It really does feel like a corner turned in terms of the four-stage races.
Yeah, it's all about the shooting. I mean, you think Suvi Minkinen? Well, I mean, she's increased her ski speed by a ton in the last 3 years. But when it comes down to it, if you're gonna get a podium in the pursuit event, and you want to ensure it, you shoot clean, and that's exactly what Suvi Minkinen did today. And that's been the difference maker for Suvi Minkinen. Is just not only just the increase in speed, but the matched composure on the shooting range with that ski speed, and she's going to find herself, I believe, I got to find the cups here. It hasn't been updated yet. It's not updating for me on the live cup for the total score yet, but it looks like she's going to take the discipline and red bib today, is Will Minkinen. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she is probably going to move into the overall World Cup total score lead as well. Let's see if that updates here. And no, she's not. Actually, it looks like Jean-Monod is going to grab that. At least according to
here are the unofficial results from today's racing, but no doubt the winner, and that was pretty evident from gun to tape. Lou Jean-Monod, she had it all. A complete performance, just one miss. Suvi Minkinen climbing 4 places to take the silver medal. A perfect day in the range, 20 out of 20 for her. Dorothea Vera only dropped 119 out of 20 to take back-to-back bronzes here at Le Grand Bonnard.
Justine Bressard-Boucher with a solid performance again. Just nothing too sparkly for her yet. She's 7th to 9th. She's 4 misses. That just show you, those 4 misses show you just how fast Justine Bressard-Boucher is skiing right now. Lou Jean-Monod looks like she's going to take a 61-point lead in the overall World Cup standings when all is said and done. Well, those will probably pop on our screen in relatively soon time. Magnuson will drop down to third spot as Dorothea Vier pops up 2 spots into the second spot overall. So Jean Monod and Vier. I think we expected to see Jean Monod emerge at the front of the field at some point here in the season, but I was not expecting at the beginning of the season for Dorothea Vier to be where she is, and that's been a really fun thing to see her resurgence to the front of the order.
Well, of course, the first biathlete this season to pull on the yellow bib was Dorothea Vier, and that bib changing hands once again. And it will be the third time it has changed hands, and it will be the first time in yellow this season for Lou Jean Monod.
Après cette course, mine de rien, c'est déjà le premier tiers de cette saison de Coupe du Monde qui se refait.
And here is confirmation of the intermediate standings after 7 competitions in the Women's World Cup total score. Lou Jean Monod back in yellow, but for the first time this season. Dorothea Vier up to second as Anna Magnusson drops down. She did all she could in terms of damage control today, but not enough to keep herself in top spot. It was always destined, Chad, you feel, with the 38th position that Anna Magnusson started in, that Lou Jean Monod would prevail and come out of this in yellow today.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have to tip my hat to Anna Magnusson. I mean, it's, you know, anytime you finish 38th and you're the World Cup leader, that's a bit of it's a tough thing to swallow. But she came back today like a champion, like a World Cup leader. She's gonna lose that bib and drop to third in the overall standings. But she'll go from 38th to 16th, even with 2 misses, 18 for 20. That is a valiant effort and a worthy effort of somebody who was wearing the yellow and red. She didn't just whimper into the loss of the lead. She fought for it tooth and nail to the end and did a very solid performance today to pay homage to the bib that she was wearing.
And it will be the yellow bib that Lou Jean Monod wears tomorrow on the final day of action here at Le Grand Bonnard, where the mass start double takes place with the men and the women. 2 bumper days of action to round out the first trimester here on the 25-26 BMW IBU World Cup season, and what a season it is as well, as we will break in February in just 48 days time for the Winter Olympic Games in Milan and Cortina. I wonder how many of these faces have got their tickets ready, Chad. It's going to be an excellent event, and of course you feel after this they'll take confidence, the French team, that they can find themselves atop the podium in at least a handful of events.
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing if you think about the history of the Olympic Games. I've said this before. I'm not sure if I'm getting to be too repetitive, but the Olympic courses have never been anything but a new course. They may have been raced on once the year prior to the Olympics, but every Olympics in the history of the Olympic Games, every biathlon event has happened at a new venue that was finished a little more than a year before the Olympic Games and tested in a World Cup competition. And we go from there to the most used ever biathlon venue in the sport. 1975, Encles emerged onto the burgeoning sports scene of biathlon and has been a mainstay. It's had 38 straight years of a World Cup or World Championships, and that's going to be our Olympic venue. It's pretty amazing how familiar these athletes are going to be with that, and it's going to also bring in a crowd that knows the sport very well. We will never have seen biathlon the way we're going to see it in Italy. Both the crowd, the enthusiasm, the knowledge of the sport, it's going to be something to behold.
Congratulations, that was simply an incredible competition today, and actually your first win in Annecy Le Grand Bornand. How special is it?
It's really nice. I really wanted it, and it feels like a difficult place for me here, and I'm really proud to be to prove myself I'm able to do it here, and it was a nice race. I'm really happy today.
Having this whole stadium cheering for you, screaming your name all the time, did it put any pressure or it gave you extra powers to win it?
Extra power for sure. It's sometimes strange how loud it is in the ear on the uphill as the first one. It's crazy, and it really helps me during shooting, because it's just get me the envy to do better and better.
You did an amazing job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, weight lifted, I think, for Lou Jean-Monod. She said that she really wanted it this year. Chad, that wasn't the case last year, where her focus, she admitted, was on the World Championships and trying her best in Lenzerheide. This time round, she's gone all in on Le Grand Bonnard, and her first win on home snow is the reward. And it's really interesting to hear her say that, because she did look dialed in complete in every level, particularly in the range today.
Yeah, it was a pretty great. I call it a masterclass. It is the way. It was an absolute grand strategy executed to perfection. Never any real spike in her ski performance. Never no real chinks in the armor. She was solid as anything on all 20 shots. She missed one shot, but it wasn't a massive loss of time. It was at the final. It was when basically the race was over and she missed a shot, so it was pretty inconsequential. It was a nice way to win in Le Grand Bonnand, and it was a dominant performance. It was great.
It is Suvi Minkkinen who will go into the red bib for the World Cup pursuit score for the women. And, Chad, just a word on her race. Perfect in the range and able to hold on the gap, just 2.5 seconds between her and Dorothea Viera when they crossed the line.
Yeah, I mean, she did what she needed to do. She knew that she needed to keep the ski speed just enough to get her to that second podium spot. Obviously, a miss would have put her off the podium, and I think she knew that. And she didn't look particularly powerful in the last loop. I think she was probably happy and relieved to get across the line without seeing that light blue suit come inching up on her from her left or right side on the finishing stretch. I think that she even gave a look back and realized she probably had it, but it was dicey and nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for her that last loop, as she felt the power sort of start draining from her legs. And every biathlete's been there, where you're fighting for something and you don't really have it, and you just hope that the luck lands on your side, and it definitely did land on Minkkinen side today. She held Dorothea Viera off by 2.5 seconds for the second spot.
Allez, c'est l'Annecy qui se prépare. On va accueillir les 6 athlètes présentes sur ce rendez-vous, sur cette cérémonie. Après la première course du jour, je rappelle que le programme continue. Bien sûr, tout continue avec cette fois-ci les garçons en mode poursuite. Ça va revenir très vite derrière, 14h45 pour le coup d'envoi. En tout cas, en attendant, tout le monde est bien resté ici. On va se retenir encore quelques minutes pour ceux qui sont là, qui ont faim, qui veulent courir dans les derrière pour manger des petits sartiflettes ou en tout cas profiter des à côté de la course. Et puis on va à nouveau s'en remettre en position.
So the penultimate women's flower ceremony of trimester 1, and it's Lou Jean-Monod who for the very first time in her career leads out the 6 athletes on home snow here at Le Grand Bonnard. What a victory in dominant fashion, and now an opportunity to celebrate with the fans who have been waiting for this one for a long time.
Les officiels de cette cérémonie protocolaire seront.
The presenters for this award ceremony will be Yekaterina Dakovska, IBU Executive Board Member, Amélie Oudéa-Castéra, President of the National Olympic Committee, Marcel Sadi, President of the Haute-Savoie Department Council.
Troisième place, représentant l'Italie.
Back-to-back bronzes for Dorothea Vera, who is in some exceptional form, and it's all looking very promising for the Italian ahead of a home Olympic Games. Chad, well, coming into this season, she probably couldn't have asked for much more.
No, I honestly don't think that she would have expected to be a third time on the podium already in seven tries. It's a pretty amazing rise back up for Dorothea Vera. And doing it at 19 for 20 in a sort of a pressure cooker pursuit format, she just proved today that she is back for real.
Well, Suvi Minkkinen is here to stay, and so are the Finnish biathlon team, who have really emerged in the last 12 months and all really following in the footsteps of what Suvi Minkkinen has been able to achieve. At 31 years old, it's quite impressive. She had to do the hard yards early in her career. She had to keep the faith, and well, it's all paying off now. A second pursuit silver, and the second this season as well. She has made quite the start. There's 3 podiums, Chad, that she ended up on last season. 3 already this season.
Yeah, you're looking at the result of pure belief, backed up by great training and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and persistence.
And just listen to the roar. Lou Jean-Monod on home snow for the very first time.
Emotions sort of bleeding through there just a little bit. Just fighting back tears there, I think.
A 7th pursuit victory, and by far the sweetest. The yellow bib will be hers going into the mass start tomorrow. Not quite enough for a podium finish today from Julia Simon, but she's back in the flower ceremony.
First glimpse at the Julia Simon we've known all along. First glimpse of the season, I should say.
Couldn't replicate her excellent work from last week in Hopfiltz and Lisa Vitozzi, but she keeps the pressure on, finishing in the flower ceremony.
Yeah, solid performance. I think the thing going through Vitozzi's mind perhaps though might be what happened with the ski speed today. Where did power go? That would be my first question as a coach. I was just watching her on that first lap. She just didn't seem to have what she had for punch last week in Hopfiltz, and that just, it's a little thing that's going to put a little worry in her.
Bravo, félicitations.
Well, we've had some renditions of the French national anthem already this week, despite not seeing a French athlete atop the podium. This time round, though, it will be sung with just that edge of passion that we haven't heard yet. Well, a great start to the day here at Le Grand Bonnard, and it all continues as we'll be back at 2:45 Central European time for the start of the men's 12.5 kilometre pursuit. And after today, and the early start, you don't want to miss that. 2:45 Central European time here on Eurovision Sport.
Let's do it now. Let's keep this thing open. But I'll shut down and I'll reload with my old kit. Give me a few minutes, okay? All right, I'm gonna X out of here. I'll come back in if I can. I hope I. Okay. And no reverb. Well, I'm gonna have to. I mean, this thing is glitching on me, but I think it'll be fine. I think I'll save it for today, and I will just put it in a place where I can't bump it, and I'll have to work on I'll have to work with some sound.